The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Hello to everyone who is with us live on YouTube. We're live on YouTube Monday through Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific. And you can check that out at youtube.com/The David Pakman Show. Hang out in the chat room, watch live, whatever it is you want to do during the live show. Welcoming, of course, everybody from the We Survive Bush, You'll Survive Obama Facebook page and the Too Informed to Vote Republican page. Of course, we can't forget the I Love It When I Wake Up in the Morning and Barack Obama is President Facebook page. Check them all out, Louis.
Those are some really great pages.
There.
Yeah.
This is a story that has started really mostly on the right, particularly among gun enthusiasts, and now has gotten as far as a mention in Forbes. This is the story of the government's alleged purchase of what some characterize as outrageously high amounts of ammunition by the government. And whether that's the Social Security Administration or Department of Homeland Security, there's a number of different stories floating around. So today we saw a story in Forbes pointing to the Denver Post, saying the Denver Post on February 15th ran an Associated Press article entitled Homeland Security Aims to Buy 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition, so far to little notice. The article confirmed that the Department of Homeland Security had issued an open purchase order for 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition. And it's been reported elsewhere that some of the purchase was for hollow point rounds, which are forbidden by international law for use in war. And the reaction basically has been, this is evidence Obama is planning to take our guns and to institute some kind of tyrannical law. The government is buying so many bullets as well as tanks that for domestic use that it is abundantly clear this is why we need weapons. Cue the sky is falling. Cue complete apoplexy. That's the story that we've been getting.
Right.
So it's important to look into this further because my initial reaction when I hear something like that is, well, what is the evidence that we're looking at? And what we have is Infowars.com, which is Alex Jones's website, shows an August of 2012 request for quote, an RFQ, for 174,000 rounds of these hollow point bullets from the Social Security Administration. So let's examine that. Number one, is it true or not true that law enforcement uses and practices with these hollow point bullets? Well, it is true that law enforcement has always practiced with hollow point bullets. They use them for their stopping power to minimize collateral damage because hollow point bullets, when they enter the body, or whatever it is, if it's target practice, when they make contact, they kind of spread in a way that prevents them from passing through the body and then hitting something else. So you can understand why law enforcement training for a number of different scenarios where you wouldn't want a bullet passing through an individual, exiting that individual, maybe hitting someone else, maybe doing other damage. We can understand so far at least why law enforcement would train with that ammunition.
Well, law enforcement doesn't just train with it. Law enforcement uses it actively.
Right, but the training part is key as to where we're going here.
Okay.
So we know why law enforcement would have those. So the first thing that we need to notice is that the supposed order is not an order for 450 million of these bullets, which Infowars.com put out there. It's a contract to supply these bullets with a maximum volume of 450 million rounds over 5 years, right? So really what we have here is a contract to supply up to 90 million bullets a year. The Obama is buying millions of bullets right now. A contract has been put in place to supply a smaller number over a period of 5 years. The devil is in the details, isn't it?
Usually is, yeah.
No. Now, in 2008, if we just do some numbers, and there's these analyses that are floating around the internet, if you think about the majority of these rounds are, of course, not fired at people, right? They're fired during training and practice. A Department of Homeland Security officer goes through basic firearms training, firing over 1,000 rounds each, and then they are required to requalify with their weapon every year. That's another few hundred rounds. There are often additional firearms training programs which can use over 1,000 rounds. You can see, Lewis, with the number of Department of Homeland Security agents, how you would go through a lot of rounds without needing Obama to come with the military to take people's guns, or to come with the DHS to take guns.
Even without looking into the details, when I see 1.6 billion rounds of ammo for Homeland Security, that doesn't shock me at all. That sounds like typical government defense spending to me.
Did you say 1.6 million or billion?
Billion.
Billion, okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is this, and this is really what I go back to, Natan, with these theories. If there was a plan for a tyrannical takeover by the government, and as part of this, the government would want to kind of keep this on the down low to prevent people from proactively arming themselves against it, do you really think they would have such easily accessible requests for quotes, or would they just do the entire thing secretly?
Well, you would think if it was really a conspiracy, they would try to do it completely secretly. But let me just take this opportunity to reiterate my complete support for full gun registration and trackable guns of all kinds. Obviously, confiscation is not really an option on the table given the Second Amendment. So when they say that, when they use the scare tactic and say, "Oh, this is going to lead to registration and confiscation," the second part will never happen. But I'm in favor of the first part. So
we're
hopefully
all
that
in
does
favor,
happen.
and most Americans are in favor of full registration, background checks. So who's against that? Very, very few people are against that aspect,
Right.
Lewis. So again, we need to think critically here and look at what are we talking about. Does it at face value and upon further analysis appear that President Obama is arming Department of Homeland Security to come and by force of guns take other people's guns? No, there's absolutely no evidence of that.
No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If these people had any idea what the government was doing in terms of research and development, weapons purchases, vehicle purchases, the whole thing combined, they'd probably just shoot themselves in the head if they thought that that's what was coming at them.